Welcome to the deep dive. We're looking at a really unique stack of sources this week. It's a new political science study trying to get a handle on, well, President Trump's governance style after the 2024 reelection. And this isn't just, abstract theory. We're aiming to really dive into the actual mechanics, how this administration operates. So our mission today, basically unpack these new systems, communication, how policy gets reversed constantly, and the sheer performance art involved. We want to give you that shortcut to understanding the internal logic here because, well, according to these sources, it's a White House that seems to rewrite its own script pretty much every day.
Yeah, and what's really fascinating, I think, is how the scholars looking at this have sort of given up trying to fit it into the old boxes. They've actually landed on a specific term for it. They're calling it tergiversation studies.
Tergiversation studies, okay? That's a new one. What does that actually mean in this context?
Well, essentially, it's the art, and they frame it as an art of facing like three directions at once, but still claiming you're moving forward. The sources really emphasize this systematic policy reversal. They call it a full body workout, needs tons of showmanship, real-time improv, and just relentless energy. Cardio, they actually say.
Wow, cardio.
Yeah, it's a system built on perpetual motion, not static policy points.
Okay, let's dig into that, this new governing architecture.
Yeah.
Because it starts right at the top, changing the physical space, the whole philosophy.
It does. Physically, the White House itself has this new internal branding. It's now the Executive Resort and Casino, Trump DC. Seriously.
Executive Resort and Casino.
Okay, but the real shift is the principle guiding the staff. The study calls it situational truth. That's the operating philosophy.
Situational truth. So truth depends entirely on the context of the moment. How does that actually work day to day? How do staff know what the truth is?
Well, it has to be codified, right? Because it changes. So the day kicks off with something called the daily pivot. It's an internal memo, but its main job isn't just updating policy. It's specifically to reverse yesterday's positions.
Reverse them. Why?
The memo just says for energy reasons. That's the justification. So the constant change is the policy, not the actual substance.
And we have a prime example of this, don't we, from that leaked foreign aid update. Can you walk us through that one? It sounds pretty wild.
Oh, it's perfect. The Ukraine Clarification Update V12.4 really shows tergiversation in action. So one day, the White House commits Tomahawk missiles to Zelensky.
Okay.
The very next day. The Daily Pivot memo calls that exact offer premature, overgenerous, and possibly Canadian.
Possibly Canadian?
Possibly Canadian. And the new stance is just reviewing options.
Reviewing options. Which includes just pretending the first offer never happened.
Exactly. The memo explicitly says one option is simply denying the offer was ever made. The old position isn't wrong, it's just not operative anymore. Because, the sun came up. The focus shifts totally to optics. Prepping for the meeting with Zelensky requires ordering a taller podium for the unity handshake. Tentative. It's all about the photo op.
Okay, so this constant shifting, this volatility, that sets the stage for foreign policy, which the study calls, what was it, kinetic flexibility.
Kinetic flexibility, yeah. It sounds exhausting, frankly. The sources suggest that huge decisions, are we friends, are we enemies, war, or peace, can literally depend on the financial market.
You mean like the stock market?
Stock futures. If they're green, you might get praise. If they're red, well, conflict talk is more likely. It's like foreign policy by mood ring.
So when you hear an announcement, you can't just analyze the policy itself. You have to think about market timing, the delivery.
Precisely.
And the Iran example captures this perfectly, right? The rapid switching back and forth.
Oh, absolutely. In the same briefing, you could hear Iran described as, a great place with beautiful rugs.
Okay.
And then maybe an hour later, it's a problem requiring the biggest, most beautiful bunker busters. The oscillation is the policy.
And then there's the ambiguity about those bunker busters.
Yeah.
When asked if they were, actual weapons.
Right. He didn't really confirm that. He clarified they might be metaphorical bunker busters or maybe even a TV show.
A TV show.
Yeah. So the policy is kept deliberately fuzzy. The threat, the spectacle of the threat, that's key. Actually doing anything. Totally optional, it seems.
So how does this play out at, say, the State Department in actual diplomatic communications?
That's another fascinating bit. Diplomatic cables apparently now include these emotional weather reports.
Emotional weather reports.
Yeah, to tell foreign leaders how to feel about the relationship that day.
So NATO is officially partly obsolete with scattered praise. China?
Stormy with occasional friendship.
And
Canada is just still too polite. It's basically an instruction manual for the emotional tone they should adopt.
Which fits right in with this whole diplomacy as entertainment idea, the promise to solve all wars by lunchtime.
Exactly, which the president apparently called optimistic but achievable.
Right.
And there's that anecdote from a summit scolding Zelensky publicly for being too needy and then immediately handing him this commemorative handshake prop. Like a metal handshake engraved, "Friends again." It's emotional whiplash as a tactic.
Okay, but practically,
Yeah.
what about the Pentagon? When they need to know, are we talking symbolic tomahawks or real ones? How do they get a straight answer?
Well, the answer they apparently got sums it all up, really. The military asked for written clarification, symbolic or real.
And the response?
A single document titled, "Clarification, we meant whatever we said."
We meant whatever we said.
Yep. The performance of saying it is the policy, the actual meaning, negotiable, right up until the last second, maybe even after.
Okay, let's pivot, appropriately enough, to how this gets communicated to the public. The press office. The daily briefing with Marla K. Snodgrass sounds like pure theater.
Oh, it is. Her opening line apparently sets the tone every day. Everything the president said is true, except where it isn't, which is also true.
Wow, so that's the official line. Truth and non-truth are both true.
It's like a mandate for coherence through paradox. Yeah.
So how do journalists even ask questions in that environment if you can't rely on basic statements?
They've had to adapt. They use a lot of subjunctive mood, apparently. Hypotheticals like, if the president were to have meant what he said yesterday, would that statement still be operative today, hypothetically speaking?
And Snodgrass.
Well, while they ask that, she's apparently consulting this big color-coded chart. Sources say it looks like a roulette wheel to figure out which version of reality applies right now.
And they've actually formalized narrative control with a specific tool, right? Their retroactive prediction statement, RPA.
The RPS. Yes. A masterpiece, really. It's basically an official way to claim after something happens that the administration predicted it perfectly all along. Success, failure, doesn't matter.
It guarantees they were always right in hindsight.
Exactly. Ensures the president is always seen as strategically correct.
And the failed trade deal example illustrates this perfectly.
It does. The deal collapses, right. But the official RPS comes out saying the president was correct anyway because he always said it might succeed, fail, or be renegotiated.
By covering all bases, he couldn't be wrong.
Precisely. Guaranteed success, outcome irrelevant.
And this repackaging, it's not just foreign policy or trade, it happens domestically too.
Oh, yeah. Similar reframing. Things that were maybe once called locker room banter are now officially labeled historic candor.
Historic candor, okay.
And there was that family values luncheon. The president declared himself the most humble man in the room.
Humble, right?
And the audience apparently gave a 6-minute standing ovation. But you see, the tension there was that policy, was it satire? That intentional blurriness is the culture.
Which brings us to this paradox. All this daily chaos, constant change. You'd think staff morale would be in the basement. But the sources say it's surprisingly high. How?
Right. It's attributed to these daily, mandatory confidence rallies.
Confidence rallies.
Yeah. The idea seems to be that confidence isn't innate, it's manufactured through these very choreographed events. They're held in the East Ballroom. And they have an anthem.
An anthem, don't tell me.
Yep. The 1978 Village People classic, YMCA.
You're kidding, YMCA, as the official administration rally song.
That's what the sources say. And the leaked morning itinerary for senior staff, it's really something.
Okay, lay it on us.
It starts with policy reversal rehearsal.
Yeah.
Then the fist-pumping warm-up to YMCA, and then, this is crucial, strategic ad-libbing session.
They rehearse ad-libbing.
They literally practice improvising constantly. It's part of the job description.
And the president himself demonstrating the policy using the YMCA dance moves.
Famously, yes, this is like the Rosetta Stone for this whole thing. The 4 letters demonstrated as policy directives.
Go on.
Why? Yes to tariffs. Maybe not tariffs.
C.
Cancel the tariffs.
M.A.
Announce them again.
Wow. Governance is choreography.
Exactly. Movement for movement's sake, completely divorced from any stable outcome.
And this all culminates weekly, apparently, at the Rally of Renewal, under chandeliers shaped like Gulf teas.
Gulf teas. That's the setting. And that's where they fully embrace the philosophy aides apparently chant, "Make confusion great again."
Make confusion great again. So confusion isn't a bug, it's the feature.
It's the primary operating model. Fully accepted, even celebrated.
And the ending ritual.
Right.
Classified memos released via confetti cannon.
Marked declassified by gesture. Released as confetti while everyone does the YMCA dance. It's the perfect closing image. And this ambiguity, this tergiversation. It even bleeds into the spiritual side of things.
Right, the sources mention evangelical advisors describing him as, what was it, deeply spiritual man who rarely complicates things by reading scripture.
Which suggests a very simplified, results-first kind of theology.
Yeah, basically boiled down to God loves winners.
Exactly. Transactional, it bypasses a lot of traditional ethics. When someone apparently asked about the Sermon on the Mount, foundational Christian
Oh,
ethics,
was the response.
consistent with everything else. Beautiful speech. I prefer the remix.
Prefers the remix. What does that even signal to staff trying to operate ethically?
Well, it sounds like permission for purely situational ethics, doesn't it? If it serves the goal of winning right now, it's justified. It reinforces that situational truth idea. The sources conclude that scholars might end up calling this whole period the age of motion without progress, just constant churn instead of actual advancement.
So for you, the listener, trying to process all this,
Yeah.
what's the key takeaway? It seems like certainty, political certainty, just isn't the main goal here. It's secondary to this. Unfiltered vitality. You're not watching policy unfold anymore. You're watching a performance, a continuous, highly choreographed performance art show.
And that leaves us with a really provocative question, I think. If policy reversal isn't just happening, but it's institutionalized, celebrated, even danced to, literally, the YMCA, then what's the actual difference anymore between governing and just continuous campaigning? Is tergiversation a genuinely new way to govern? Or is it just finally admitting that spectacle has totally replaced structure?
A really compelling question. Definitely something to chew on. Well, thank you for joining us for this deep dive into the executive resort and casino.